Dystopians, today I want to roll out a new mechanic in my Minecraft world. Instead of just building what I want, where I want, I'm going to require that I research that particular topic, and I'll have to have a particular population balance in order to get it. Fortunately, for today's build, I'll have to build the observatory to be able to do the research, and I'll have to add a small house to increase my population capacity. Seeing as how in the middle of last episode we created our villager breeder, I think I have the population I need to get things started. Now before we get too carried away, I did want to show you some of the updates I made to this area. I added some wheat for the cows and then some dirt areas here to just texture the ground a little bit more, some path block, and some more dirt over here to make things look better. Now I still haven't quite figured out exactly how to make this area look a little bit better, but I'm sure we'll work on it on stream at some point. Now before we get too carried away with our current build, there are just a few trees in this area that I think we need to clear out to make our last build look a little bit better, and I think we can make this little space right here look a little bit better with just a touch. Now while we wait for these tree leaves to finish decaying, I want to talk a little bit about what we want to do here. So I'm thinking we might clear a little bit of this dirt away and sort of taper this area back a little bit to the wall here. Now, what I want to do here is kind of carry the brick theme around a little bit and wall this area off so that it looks kind of supported. And I did not have enough bricks again. Fortunately, we still have a ton of clay from the last episode. So we'll just smelt that up and then we'll get back to the wall. Okay, now that we have it all separated off with the bricks, and I even came over here and finished this area out a little bit. My initial plan was to leave the dirt here so it looked like it was built into it, but I think it still looks a little bit better finished out. And with it being separated out, I did try to build a custom tree. I have to say, custom trees, organic structures, not my strong suit, but I think it turned out okay. And you know, it's worth a shot every once in a while. Now I added some moss in here, some coarse dirt, and some regular dirt. I try to use the moss to separate out the dirt from turning into grass because I did want it to look a little bit more of like a dirt area here, but it doesn't look like it's working. We're still getting some spread around here, which I guess is okay. The next thing I want to do is add in a few things like some flowering azaleas. I think that will look nice. And then we've got a few of our regular azaleas too that will just kind of pop in here as well. And it looks like we've got some sweet berries that we can throw in and have some sweet berry bushes to bring some more color to this area. And speaking of color, I do want to throw in a couple of rose bushes here in the back. I think that that will look really quite good. And we'll even throw in a couple of poppies here just to add a little bit of height and color difference. I think that area looks really, really nice. We have a nice little farmland as we come out our door, and then it turns into this little garden area, which turned out pretty well, and finally into the farm here. Now, the next thing we're gonna have to work on at some point, and I'll probably be moving these sheep in over stream at some point, we're gonna have to finish our path out all the way around to the front of the barn here, so we have a way to get in and out that looks natural. We have some dirt here we're gonna need to add and remove a few more trees, but we'll save that for a future project. For now, I wanna get started on our main build here. And one of the things that we're going to need is a few books. Let's see if we have any leather. And it looks like I have a couple of pieces there. Oh, I have plenty of leather. What about sugarcane? Ah, good, sugarcane. We are good on sugarcane as well. Go ahead and make ourselves a lectern. Now that we've got our lectern, I think we're gonna need to find a really good space to set up our research observatory station. And I think I have just the space in mind. See, we're definitely gonna wanna be able to look at the area around us, and we're gonna need to be a little bit taller than our house here. I think this hill back here is going to be absolutely perfect. We got a few trees to clear out, but let's go ahead and plop down our lectern and let's get researching. Now that that's finished up, I've got a lot of ideas in our brain. Let's get building. I think this has to be one of the more interesting builds that I've ever made, and I'm actually really quite proud of it. It's a little bit more compact, it's a little bit smaller, it's not short, that's for sure. We can definitely see out the top there, and I'll show you all in a minute, but it's got a lot of detail in it. I really tried to work a lot on the texturing here with the cracked stone brick, the mossy brick, incorporating cobblestone, smooth stone, and even some regular stone as well. I think it turned out really well, and we did miss a couple of blocks there. Ah, that's better. But as I was saying, I do really enjoy the way this build turned out. Put some light sources on the outside here, so hopefully that'll help with mob spawning in the area. And we did put some stupid dirt block. We did put some walls here, so it looks interesting. I did get some inspiration from the Einstein Tower. So that's the reason for these walls here and the oval shape of the whole thing. And it did lend to it being a bit more compact. Now let's go inside. There's not a whole lot going on in here just yet. I do have some archways here, and it looks a little bit better coming from this angle. And we do have some lanterns in here again. So this is going to be some rooms for maybe some librarians or other villagers of some sort or another, as well as possibly some storage rooms for different things as well. Same thing, same kind of concept for down here. And then as you move up, there's going to be more space for villagers, maybe not a whole ton. But then finally up here is where we're going to have our research area, where we're going to have our main, quote unquote, main librarian up here, where we're going to get maybe our first mending librarian, because my tools are looking pretty rough right now. So let me know what you guys think of the build so far, and give me any ideas that you might have for some interior points on this, and I'll see if I can incorporate them. Now, the next thing that we're going to want to do is make sure we get our research librarian taken care of. So let's go grab a villager and assign him the librarian job. Yoink! All right, he became a librarian. Now let's see what he got. Okay, punch 2, not what I want, but I did install this mod that allows me to cycle trades, and I'm just now realizing I don't have any of my emeralds on me, so we need to make sure we go have some of those. All right, infinity is not bad. This may take a while, so I'm just gonna cut to when I get mended. Finally, and I don't have the emeralds for it, so we're gonna have to make sure we grab this bookshelf, make sure that he gets locked in as mending, and he will be our main researcher from now on. So anything that we need will come to him, and maybe he'll point us to some other villagers that have other enchantments that we'll need. Thank you, sir. You enjoy the view. Now, the next thing we're gonna need to focus on is getting another house built up for another villager, and possibly one that can get me emeralds. Now, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do. We could do a farmer, or we could even do a fisherman. I feel like both will have relatively the same effect as to what we need. If we build a fisherman, we've got a really nice view of the frozen ocean out there, which could lead to some great ice fishing for the gentleman. Or if we do a farmer, we do have this barn right here, so we can build a nice little house there on the hill. I don't know. Let me think about it, and I'll get back with y'all in just a quick second. And like the good little content creator I am, I took to the community tab and to Twitter to do a poll if you guys decide what we would build here in our world. Most of you voted for farmer. So let's get building. Now, I've never really built a farmhouse in Minecraft before, so I did grab a few materials here that I think might just be really good to use, but it might be helpful if I have a crafting table. Now, this build is going to be quite simple, and that's mostly just because I don't really have a good plan for it. So we're going to start with a little bit of andesite here, get some cobble to mix in with some stone, get some mossy cobble to mix things up, and I think we'll use some spruce logs to help mix in with maybe some dark oak, not quite sure, and maybe we'll even use some diorite and deep slate. We'll see what all happens. Now, I don't want this house to be too big because really it's only going to be housing maybe a farmer or two. So let's clear up some of the snow and then plan the build out as we go. So for a great small house, I think we want to do something that's a bit like a 5x7 and go up 5-ish or so blocks. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this does look a little bit tight, and we may want to do the 5x7 in the actual stone itself that we'll be using. And if these are our supports, we may want them to be out just a bit. Now that that's done, let's get some stone in here and see how it looks coming together. And now we've got a bit of a patched looking sort of textured floor, which looks really good in my opinion. And let's actually do a little bit of something different here. Get a bit of our spruce planks, put them on our hotbar, and then let's mark out corners of each area here. Actually, I think this needs to do something different here. And this is what happens usually as I build. I put blocks places and then see how it looks in the long run, if I like it or not. And if I don't, then I just move it. And our intention, of course, is to keep this build relatively small, like I said. So we're not going to do a really wide porch, just sort of something to give the illusion of a porch more than actually anything useful. So the next step is coming up with the walls and deciding whether we want it to be 2-story or just a single-story house. And that could be a little bit more complicated than we're thinking. We may actually want to do an interesting thing here with the porch and leave it the same on most sides, except for maybe this side here, where we bring it, excuse me, pig, where we bring the porch out just a little bit. So it looks like it has a little bit of a difference here. And as we're working our way up, it's good to use some of the same blocks on top of each other, kind of spread them out over the other blocks so it looks a little bit more textured, and it gives you a bit of a way to group up the blocks and kind of have an idea of what you're working with. And then if you have blocks that are similarly textured, such as the cobble and mossy cobble, it does make it quite a bit easier for you to blend these blocks together because it just looks like you've changed the color a little bit as you go. Now, we definitely don't want our farmer to be covered by just 4 walls, so we want to dig out a few windows. I think that looks much better. Let's grab some glass. Now that the windows are all filled in, it's time to turn our attention to the roof. Now, the interesting thing is going to be this area out here, because we're going to have a bit of a push out for the roof, and I'm actually thinking we may want to remove this little area right there and switch this spot up here just a bit. Now, I think this looks a little bit better, and the roof, I think we'll need to use a little bit of our dark oak to trim it out and then use the spruce on the inside to make it look good. Now that we're up here, what I want to do is take the spruce stairs and go out just a bit. Cover this area up to about here, I believe. Maybe we'll replace this with dark oak. We'll think about it as we go. So we'll do this, and then as we come along here, we're going to start turning our little roof around this way. And on the back, we'll go the full distance. I think this is going to end up looking really good. This area here may just be a little bit interesting. So we finished wrapping the area around the house with the dark oak, and I do think that that trim is going to make a world of difference in our build. Now, the next part is trying to get this corner and this corner to match up just right so that it looks good. Now, I need to get some more spruce, so I'll have to go and find some. Oh look, I found a spruce tree and another one. All that aside, it's time to finish up the roof. So let's hit this off in a time lapse, and I'll see you on the other side. Now, I have a massive gaping hole in this roof right here, but I think it's going to be a great spot for a chimney. It's the perfect little corner here, and I think it'll look really, really good. Now, if we're doing a chimney here, we're going to want to remove these windows. So let's grab our Silk Touch pick and break the glass. Now we can keep in theme here with this particular block palette if we want, but I think something that might look good is if we switch it up with maybe a different color. Now we have just a few bricks left over from our previous build, and these brick walls may come in handy as well. And a great color combination with bricks is granite, so we'll grab a stack of that, and that should be good. And I think the last thing we'll need is a couple of trapdoors. Okay, so now we have the open area here. Let's grab some of our granite, some of our bricks, and get started right after we get rid of this guy. Zombies, not welcome. For this type of build, I like to bring it out just a touch and push it in as we go. Do something kind of like so with a little bit of brick here. Actually, let's remove this, and we're not going to push it in just yet. We're going to build it up just a little bit more with a mix of the brick there and the granite stair there. I think that will look good. And then we'll bring in some more granite here. Get some brick here still and come up with it just a touch. And then come in here with some more granite, cover that area up. A bit more brick. We'll go here and come up a bit there, here and here with the granite, and then slowly narrow our way in somehow and do something like this for the top. All in all, I think I kind of like it. Let's take a look and see how the chimney looks from this side. Remove the dirt, and I might say it needs a little bit more height on this side, so break this out and do a little bit more granite here, and we'll come up actually a block here and here. We might even do a stair down here, and maybe a couple full blocks here and stairs here. That I feel like this needs to be there and brick there. I think that looks better, and then we'll come over here and come up a block and then bring in our stair again. Now let's come on the inside and see what we got going on. It's relatively flat, so we may need to get a few more stairs and some sort of mantelpiece, but I think it'll look good with just a little bit of small touches. Now for sure we want to do something like that there to give it a supported look there. Build in something quite like so. I think that looks a lot better, and we can even No, I think that looks good. It is still kind of flat in the wall there, which I think is okay. If we really wanted to, we could add a few more stairs going this way. Something kind of like that. I think that looks good. Then I think here what we'll do is remove this block back there and throw in a campfire for him, so at least he's got a little bit of something to keep him warm. And I think something that might be helpful too is if we rid ourselves of that block and get another slab of some sort going in there. Actually, a stair might be better. There, something like that. It gives you a better view of the fire and a nice area to look at. Now, I've got a few holes to patch in our roof and some decorations to do in here, so I'm gonna work on those things and I'll see y'all in just a quick second. Well, we finally got the farmhouse complete, and we have a path that goes all the way up the hill to it, straight from the barn, which is absolutely fantastic. I put some hay bales on the outside of the house here. I thought that would look nice. And then, of course, all the way around, I put some posts to support the roof a little bit more. I have a small farm here for carrots because I got some carrot farmers and realized I didn't have a field for carrots. And inside, please don't judge. I am terrible at interiors. It is something I'm definitely trying to work on. There's not a whole lot going on, but check it out. We have a lantern hanging from the roof, and of course a fireplace there with a few hay bales hanging out. I put a chest here for all of the resources I will be selling them. Put a little carpet in here for, you know, nice things. Red carpet, you know, it's premium. And then of course we've got our four lovely little farmers in their respective spots, willing to buy my goods and sell me some of theirs. I think we got a pretty handy setup here. I just need to get a few more emeralds, and then we can finally buy that mending book from the librarian over in the observatory. Well, I have finally got enough emeralds to be able to finally get mending, so let's go run into a tree. Let's go get that book and finally put it on one of our pickaxes. While we're up here, the next thing that I really need to work on is getting some sort of school set up so that we can train these villagers to give us cheaper prices. And I think that'll be the thing we research next week. Go ahead and grab this mending book and we'll work with you later about getting cheaper prices. This is outrageous, sir. Now I'm gonna head back to our enchantment setup, get this put on one of our pickaxes, and we'll finally be able to repair our tools in our gold farm. And there we go, a nearly perfect diamond pick. This was a lot of fun doing, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.